Put your hands behind your back. The command cut through the afternoon noise. Outside a busy shopping center, just outside Atlanta, cars rolled slowly through the intersection. A delivery truck idled near the curb, and people moved between storefronts, carrying grocery bags and coffee cups. For a moment, nobody seemed to understand why a black woman, in a neatly pressed navy blazer, was being ordered into handcuffs. She turned slowly toward the officer. "I'm not resisting," she said. "I'm asking why you stopped me." Officer Ryan Cole stepped closer. He was in his late 30s, broad-shouldered, confident and carrying the kind of authority that came from years of wearing a badge. But there was a difference between confidence and control, and right now he seemed determined to prove that he had both. "You've been talking back since I approached you." The woman looked genuinely confused. "I've been answering your questions." A couple standing near the entrance exchanged glances. Cole pointed toward her car. "You were parked in a restricted area. I moved my car as soon as I saw the sign. Then you started arguing with me. I asked you a question. That attitude is exactly the problem." She took a quiet breath. "My attitude, yes." She looked around briefly. Then back at him, "Officer, I don't want a confrontation. I just want to understand what I've done wrong." Her voice wasn't loud. There was no profanity. No threat, no insult. That should have been the moment. The situation ended. A professional officer could have checked her identification, confirmed the parking issue, issued a warning or citation if appropriate, and moved on. That is what public trust is supposed to look like. A badge is not a license to win an argument. It is a responsibility to protect people. Follow the law and remain calm when emotions rise. But Cole wasn't listening anymore. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." She held his gaze. "No, officer. I'm asking you to treat me with the same respect you're asking from me." A man walking out of the grocery store stopped. A teenage girl beside him whispered, "He's going to arrest her." Cole reached toward his belt. The woman noticed her expression changed only slightly. "Officer, before you do that, you should check my identification." Cole gave a short laugh. "You think you can tell me how to do my job? No, then stop giving me instructions." "I'm not giving you instructions." She said, "I'm warning you that you may not have all the information." That sentence irritated him more than anything else she had said. He pulled out the handcuffs. "Turn around." The woman remained still for a second. Not because she was afraid. Because she was making a decision. She knew how quickly an ordinary encounter could become dangerous. She knew that arguing louder would not make the situation safer. She also knew that remaining calm did not mean surrendering her dignity. So she slowly turned around. The first cuff closed around her wrist click. Then the second click. Several phones appeared almost simultaneously. One belonged to a young man standing beside a parked SUV. Another was held by a woman who had been waiting for her daughter outside the store. Nobody knew the woman's name yet. Nobody knew where she worked. Nobody knew why she carried herself with such quiet certainty. They only saw a black woman being handcuffed. After repeatedly asking a simple question, Cole took hold of her arm. "You're going to spend the afternoon in a cell." She looked over her shoulder. Maybe he frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means I hope you take a moment before this goes any further." For the first time, his confidence wavered. Then it returned. "Walk." She walked not because she believed he was right, not because she was powerless. She walked because she understood something that many people learn only after years of difficult experiences. Sometimes courage isn't shouting back. Sometimes courage is remaining composed when someone with authority expects you to lose control. Behind them, the phones kept recording. And on one of those screens, the entire encounter was being captured, from the moment Officer Cole approached her until the instant the handcuffs closed around her wrists. Inside the police station, Officer Ryan Cole still believed he was in control. The building was quiet, in the way police stations often become between calls. Phones rang behind the front desk. A printer hummed in the corner. Someone was pouring another cup of burnt coffee. Officers moved through the hallway carrying folders, radios and reports, each person focused on the next task. Danielle Brooks sat quietly on a metal bench near the booking desk. Her wrists were still marked from the cuffs. Her navy blazer was slightly wrinkled from the arrest, but she had straightened it as soon as she sat down. She looked tired but not defeated. Cole dropped her wallet and keys onto the counter. "Name?" She looked at him. "You already have my identification. I asked for your name, Danielle Brooks." Cole typed it into the computer. "Address?" she answered. "Date of birth?" She answered that too. He continued filling out the paperwork, as if the woman sitting in front of him were nothing more than another case number. Reason for arrest, he muttered while typing. Failure to comply, interference. Disorderly conduct. Danielle looked at the screen. That isn't what happened. Cole didn't look up. That's what I'm putting in the report. You should be careful with that report. He finally looked at her. Is that a threat? No, it's advice. A younger female officer standing several feet away glanced over. Her name was Maya Reed. She had been with the department for only a few years, but she had already learned one of the hardest lessons. In law enforcement, a uniform doesn't automatically make someone right. Maya had watched the arrest from the parking lot. She remembered Danielle's voice, calm. Clear, not aggressive. Not threatening, just firm. She also remembered Cole saying, "Stop resisting," even though Danielle had barely moved. Maya had wanted to question him at the scene, but she hadn't now. She watched him write the report. Something didn't sit right. Cole pushed a form toward Danielle. Sign this. She glanced at it. What is its statement? I'd like to read it first. You can read it after you sign. No. Danielle said gently, that's not how this works. Cole leaned back. You've got a lot to say for somebody sitting in handcuffs. Danielle looked directly at him. I've spent my entire life being told that staying quiet makes things easier. The room became strangely still. She continued, but there are moments when silence protects the wrong person. Maya stopped walking. Those words stayed with her. Danielle wasn't shouting. She wasn't trying to embarrass Cole. She was simply refusing to let someone else rewrite what had happened. Cole stood. You're making this personal. No, Danielle replied. I'm making it factual. He stared at her for a moment. Neither spoke. Then Maya stepped toward the desk. Officer Cole, shouldn't we verify the identification before completing the report? Cole turned. I've got it handled. Maya nodded, but she didn't move away. Something about Danielle's composure bothered Cole, because it reminded him that the situation wasn't according to the script he had created. Most people became frightened when they entered a police station. In handcuffs, they apologized. They pleaded, they promised to cooperate. Danielle did none of those things. She wasn't disrespectful. She simply knew that being calm did not require surrendering her voice. Maya eventually picked up Danielle's wallet. All log her property. Cole nodded impatiently. Maya opened the wallet. Inside was a driver's license, a few cards, and a small photograph of an older black man standing beside a younger Danielle. Maya paused. Your father, Daniel? Looked at the photograph. Yes, he looks proud of you. A small smile appeared on Daniel's face. He taught me something. What? Never confuse authority with character. Maya looked at her for a moment. Daniel continued quietly. Most officers are good people. They run toward danger when everyone else runs away. They help families on the worst nights of their lives. They protect strangers who may never know their names. She looked toward Cole. But a badge doesn't make someone above accountability. Maya lowered her eyes. She understood. Being a police officer meant having power that could change someone's life in seconds. That power demanded restraint, fairness, and courage, not just when everyone was watching, but especially when nobody was. She turned the driver's license over. Then she looked at the name again. Danielle Brooks. Something about it felt familiar. Maya walked toward the computer terminal. She entered the name. The system searched for several seconds. Nothing happened. Then a restricted notification appeared. Maya's expression changed. She checked the identification again. Then the screen. Then Danielle, Mom. Danielle looked up. Yes. Maya lowered her voice. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why didn't you tell Officer Cole who you were? Danielle looked toward the handcuffs resting on the desk. Because I shouldn't have to be important. For someone to treat me with respect. Maya stood completely still. Those words hit harder than any accusation could have. Then the computer chimed again. A second notification appeared beneath the first. Maya read it. Her face went pale. She slowly turned toward Officer Cole Ryan. He looked over what Maya pointed at the screen. You need to see this. The room went silent. Maya stared at the computer screen, then at Danielle, as if she were trying to make sure she had read the information correctly. Officer Ryan Cole walked over. What is it? Maya moved aside. Cole looked at the screen. His face changed. The confidence disappeared first. Then the irritation. Then the smug expression he had worn since the parking lot. What? He leaned closer. At the top of the restricted record was Danielle Brooks' name. Beneath it was her official position. She wasn't simply a visitor passing through town. She was a senior federal law enforcement official who had spent years working alongside agencies across the country, training officers, reviewing major cases, and helping departments improve how they handled situations involving civil rights and public safety. Cole stepped backward. "You've got to be kidding me." Danielle remained seated. "I told you to check my identification." Maya looked at Cole. "You arrested her without verifying the information." Cole shook his head. "I didn't know." Danielle answered quietly. "That's exactly the problem." The words weren't cruel, they were disappointed. That somehow made them heavier. The station chief, Marcus Hayes, was called immediately within minutes. He entered the room, he looked at Maya, then Cole, then Danielle. His eyes settled on the handcuffs sitting on the desk. "Are those hers?" Maya nodded. The chief's jaw tightened. "Take them off," Cole hesitated. "Chief," now the cuffs were removed. Danielle rubbed her wrist gently. Chief Hayes approached her. "Miss Brooks, I owe you an apology." Daniel stood. "Thank you, Chief." He looked toward Cole. "Is there anything in that report that isn't accurate?" Cole said nothing. Maya stepped forward. "Yes, sir." Everyone looked at her. She took a breath. "I witnessed the encounter. She wasn't resisting. She asked why she was being detained. She complied when Officer Cole ordered her to turn around." Cole stared at Maya. "You're really doing this?" Maya didn't look away. "Yes." Her voice shook slightly, but she didn't retreat. For a young officer, it was a defining moment. Because courage inside law enforcement isn't always about chasing a suspect or standing in front of danger. Sometimes courage means telling the truth when the person you're correcting wears the same uniform. Chief Hayes took the report from Cole's desk. He read it. Then he looked at Daniel. "Did you threaten him?" "No." "Did you refuse to identify yourself?" "No." "Did you resist arrest?" "No." The chief closed the folder. "Then this report is going to be corrected." Daniel nodded. "I appreciate that." But she wasn't interested in revenge. That became obvious when Chief Hayes asked what she wanted done. "I want the truth documented," she said. "I want the officers who handled this situation to understand what went wrong. And I want the people watching that video to remember something." The chief listened. Danielle continued. "Most people who wear a badge are trying to do something good. They run toward emergencies. They protect strangers. They walk into situations their families pray they never have to face." She paused. "But that's exactly why accountability matters. A good officer doesn't need to be afraid of accountability. Accountability protects the badge from the people who misuse it." Maya lowered her eyes. She knew she would remember that sentence for the rest of her career. Then the station doors opened. Several senior officers entered. They had already heard what happened. One of them recognized Danielle immediately. His posture changed. He straightened his uniform. Then he raised his hand in salute. Another officer followed, then another. Within seconds, the entire room stood. Danielle looked around at them. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she returned the salute. It wasn't a celebration of power. It was a recognition of service. A black woman who had been treated like a problem only minutes earlier was now standing in the middle of the same station as a respected professional. But Danielle wasn't smiling because she had one. She was thinking about every person who had ever sat on a police station bench, believing nobody would listen to them. She turned toward Maya. "You did the right thing." Maya nodded. "I was scared." Danielle smiled. "Courage doesn't mean you aren't scared. It means you don't let fear decide what kind of person you're going to be." Outside, the video from the parking lot was spreading rapidly. People were debating what they had seen. Some were angry, some were asking questions. Others were defending the officers. But Danielle knew the most important conversation wasn't about one viral video. It was about trust, because communities need police officers. They need people willing to answer the phone at 2 a.m., run toward danger, protect children, find missing people, and stand between innocent families and violence. And police officers need communities that believe them. That trust can take years to build, but one moment of arrogance can damage it in seconds. Danielle walked toward the station doors. Before leaving, she stopped and looked back at the officers. "Remember," she said, "a badge gives you authority. Your character decides what you do with it." The room remained quiet. Then she walked outside. And if this story made you think about what respect, accountability, and courage should look like, tell me in the comments, was Danielle right to stay calm? Or should she have challenged Officer Cole more aggressively? And if you were in Maya's position, would you have spoken up? Even if the officer beside you was your senior, I want to hear your honest opinion also. Tell me what kind of story you want to see next. Another powerful black woman standing up for herself. A police officer who risks everything to expose corruption. Or a completely unexpected justice story, because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about who has the biggest or the loudest voice, they're about the person who stays calm, tells the truth, and refuses to let someone else decide their worth.